In this video, we're going to go over some simple accounting cleanup items that you can take care of in your QuickBooks instance. So to start, we're going to review your chart of accounts. So to do that, we'll go to Transactions, Chart of Accounts. And in the last video, we talked about creating and designing a new chart. And if you're making some small tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it's a one-for-one, I'd recommend making those changes in QuickBooks because it will make the mapping exercise easier. If you're completely redoing your chart of accounts, it might be pretty difficult to remap and renumber all the accounts. And so in that case, I might not recommend doing this. But if you're just making a few tweaks, I want to show you this batch edit function in QuickBooks Online where you can pretty quickly add some numbers. Let's just say we're going to call this, just add a little bit more description. Again, trying to get this to match our QuickBooks or our NetSuite, our new NetSuite chart of accounts. And then you just click save. And then now those edits are going to be applied to all the transactions in QuickBooks Online. So that's the first task I would look at. Next, I'm going to go look at our customers and our vendors and see if there's any kind of low-hanging fruit that we can deactivate. So to start, right, we can see that these three question mark company name, who knows where this came from? I've seen this in multiple clients before. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that that is a garbage customer and we don't need that. So you can actually select multiple customers on here. So you can kind of go through the list and you click this batch actions and you can just make them all inactive. And it's going to prompt you. You can say yes. And then the other obvious thing that I can see here, and this is pretty common too, is that we've got the same customer in here twice with just a separate business identifier in the name. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this Amy's Bird Sanctuary LLC because I know that this one looks like this is not the correct customer. I'm going to click edit, and I'm actually going to change the name to match the other company name that I want it to be. I'll click save. It's going to prompt me and say, hey, this name's already being used. Do you want to merge it? I'm going to say yes. And so the nice thing that this does is it takes all the transactions from the old entity and merges them into the new entity. So then you really have just one, and then we can filter out when we do our import in NetSuite, we'll just filter out any inactive customers or vendors. So the same thing works for the vendor record. Okay, third, I'm going to go look at our aging reports. I'm going to look at the accounts receivable aging detail. I just want to see, hey, is there any like kind of hanging journal entries or balances that we can get rid of? And we can see, yes, we've got this Amy's Bird Sanctuary that's got a journal entry accrual that's netting out to 0. And I've got this 10-cent balance on an old invoice that I probably will not get paid on. So what I'm going to do is on the journal entry, I'm going to duplicate the tab so I can keep my AR aging detail. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a payment for Amy's Bird Sanctuary. And that's how you can get rid of those journal entries. As you put this up, and then you've got the two journal entries net out to 0. My total, you want to make sure your amount received is 0. And it is, and so that way there's no GL impact. And so I'm just going to click save and close. And now those are off my AR aging. For this hanging balance, you could do this two ways. You could create a credit memo for each customer, or which I think the credit memo works fine if you've only got one or two of these that you're going to do, but the third option would be, or the second option would be to post a journal entry. And so we're going to go ahead and create a journal entry. And I'm going to put in cool cars. We're going to credit accounts receivable. Sorry. And And then we'll just say bad debt expense. And we can just click save and close. And now this is going to create a journal entry on our aging that we can then apply payment to, similar to what we did on the last one. So those would net out to 0. Okay, and then the final little step that I would take is to go to the bank rec. So we're going to go to our bank reconciliation and just look and see if there's any old checks that are not cleared that we should void. It's a lot. This is honestly probably the most important step to take. If you're going to do one of these, this is the one I would do. The Bob's Burger joint here, this check is from 2021, and it's probably not going to clear at this point. So let's just go ahead and you can void that check. You can just click into this transaction, and then you just click void. And then our accounting team can figure out what we need to do with that. Okay, so that is how, those are 4 cleanup accounting items that you can take care of in QuickBooks starting immediately, and that will make your data migration